Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. Appreciate everybody being here. I just wanted to make sure you were here, Raylene. Want to thank everybody that's online with us as well. Appreciate you listening. Beautiful day. Wish we could be outside instead of in a meeting, but here we are. So we are going to go ahead and get started with a invocation by Commissioner Blocker, and she will lead us also in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful to gather here tonight for our county commission meeting and to discuss the needs and wishes of the county. Please guide and direct us, help us to work together and listen to each other and collaborate and do what's best for the county and our residents. And we're grateful for all we have and for the beautiful sunshine that's shining. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Has everybody had a chance to look through the consent agenda items, and are there any changes need to be made there? Okay. I'll look for a motion then.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Commissioner Nickerson and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, are there any declarations of conflict of interest? Okay, I do have one myself on E5, the 9-line hangers. Go ahead.
I also have E12, are some of my family.
Okay. Thank you. All right, now's our time for public comment. So anybody that has anything they would like to bring before the commission, if you could take just 3 minutes and state your name and address when you come to the pulpit. Okay, seeing none, we will move to our action items. E1, MHS graduate 26 monetary donation for project graduation.
This was mailed in, looking at the commission's donation history. They've never given to this before. It's literally any amount. But it's up to you guys if you want to donate.
They didn't ask for a specific amount.
They did not. This is exactly what was
Interesting.
in there. Yeah.
Just the form letter they send to everyone.
Correct.
Have we donated in the past?
No,
Did not,
We
no.
haven't, okay.
never seen this before.
I will note that Operation Graduation operates a food booth at the county fair. And that's generally where they derive the vast majority of their funding. They generate quite a lot of money from that. We do support that in that we're providing the facility.
At no cost.
I don't recall if we charge them. I think we charge them the fee, or have, just like any other vendor, but I could be wrong. But that might be an opportunity.
Perhaps
to
that
waive
we could do, yeah.
Perhaps. If that's something you'd like to consider.
What is the fee?
Well, you can't waive the deposit, so, but
Yeah,
that's
the cleaning deposit we
reimbursable.
wouldn't waive, that's reimbursable. It's a couple $100s.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I would be in favor of that myself.
Okay.
Maybe we can work that out.
And you're sure we've never waived that? in the
I
past?
don't believe we have in the past. We can confirm though.
I don't
but
think we have,
think
because we haven't for any other of the nonprofit groups that use.
Literally make,
They do well.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, it's thousands and thousands. Okay,
Flip
I'll
one
move in support of Morgan High School's Operation Graduation. The county commission authorize the waivature of their booth rental fees for the Morgan County Fair for their food booth for 2026.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Oh, sorry, I was an aye.
Okay. Okay, E2, Aaron Bott from our library.
Erin, do you want your PowerPoint?
Yeah, if you could, thank you.
All right. I wasn't sure how many questions or how much discussion we would have tonight, so I prepared just a really brief PowerPoint to kind of give you an overview of what I'm requesting. So if you want to move to the next slide. These are our librarians. We currently in the library department have 5 librarians, 2 historians, and 3 pages who work after school. Of these 10 employees, I am the only one that is full-time and benefited. But the county has grown to the point that we could really benefit from another full-time employee. So what I'm asking for tonight is authorization to move money from the library supplies line, so money that has already been allocated in the library budget, to the permanent employees line to make Jamie a full-time benefited assistant librarian. So if you want to go to the next one. So one of the questions I anticipated that you might have is why? Why do we need a full-time position as opposed to multiple part-time positions? That has worked for us in the past, but we have simply outgrown it. The top reason really is retention. We are losing good people. I lost 2 excellent assistant librarians last year alone because they moved on to full-time benefited positions. And this is affecting the public because we're losing people right when they know what they're doing. So we don't have great continuity of service. You can go in on Monday and ask one librarian a question and get one answer. Go in on Tuesday, ask a different librarian the same question and get a different answer, which means I'm spending a lot of my time training and correcting rather than doing my job. And we're not following our policies, which opens us up to potential liability and is also just bad service. The public deserves better than that, and they deserve more consistency. With a full-time person, we will also have improved accountability and ownership. Somebody can see a project through from beginning to end, and there won't be quite so much hot potatoing of difficult tasks from one person to the next. And we also hope that it'll minimize duplication of efforts because, you know, the Tuesday person won't have to spend their morning trying to catch up on what the Monday person didn't finish. I recognize that on paper, 2 part-time roles is cheaper than 1 full-time, but there are other values here. You know, the part-time results in higher turnover, which is more hiring and training costs, lower program effectiveness, because this person doesn't have the ownership and doesn't have the feedback and doesn't have the relationship with the patrons, so that's reduced community impact. And frankly, missed opportunities for grants and partnerships. There have been grants that I have not applied for or that we have been awarded and I have given back because we didn't have the manpower to execute the program. And we don't want to do that. So. Why now? That's another question. Why didn't I ask for this at budgeting time? Great question. At budgeting time, I did not know what my approved 2026 budget was going to be and what number I was actually going to have in that supplies line that functions as kind of a surplus line for the library to make sure that our revenue and our expenditures zero out. That in our 2026 budget is $124,965.96. We don't need an extra $124,000 just sitting in a bank account if the public could get more value from having another full-time librarian. The other big factor that I have now that I did not have in August is that I have staff who wants it. I sat down and talked to all of my staff and asked them if they would be interested in more hours, and at the time, they were not. None of them were. Now I have somebody who is qualified and eager and who wants full-time and benefits, and I want to keep him. 8. This is a horrible graph, and I apologize. I'm horrible at charts. But basically, the question here is it sustainable, right? We don't want to bring somebody on full-time this year and not be able to pay him next year. This is the library budget over the last 4 years. Because we are funded through a mill levy, which is a property tax, it's rooftops, our budget has not gone down. We have a surplus every year. We have sufficient. Even if we were to flatline, we would be able to fund this position in perpetuity. So budget should not be a problem, and the money is already there. So we're not asking for any additional money. We're just asking for a better way to use it. And Kate, I think my last one. That's it. So those are some of the questions that I anticipated you might have. Do you have other questions for me?
Perpetuity was my biggest question on that, is that it was sustainable to be able to have that. Because I don't want to see the budget be asked for next year, that we do it one time. That's kind of like one-time monies, and so that was my biggest concern.
Yeah, with the growth, new growth, we're seeing that budget increase year over year, so.
Yeah, and our operating costs are not increasing significantly. I mean, staff is our most expensive expenditure, as it is for most departments. But yeah, it's not getting more expensive to check out books, but it is expensive to have the people and the time.
That amazes me that you've been the only full-time employee over there.
For 106 years.
You're doing a great job and you look so young. No, I appreciate you putting so much time and thought into it. To have someone that actually wants it, so is going to be invested in it, is huge.
Thank you, and that is huge, because we do expect a lot of investment and a lot of commitment from our librarians. It's after hours things, it's community outreach, it's reaching out to individual people and patrons, and we want them to know that we are as invested in them as we expect them to be in us.
So, question I have. I don't mind the extra one. What about dropping the mill levy? And what happens if all of a sudden we do drop the mill levy?
That will require a lot of reevaluation.
Okay. So, I mean, just because we have the money doesn't mean we need to spend the money.
Agreed.
And
So the
then-
question is, how does it best value the community?
That's right. Now, the other thing is I have a question on your historic history people over there. And I know that is something that you may be wanting to consider also, is that sometime maybe somebody there might want to be going full-time. I don't know if they do or they don't. I'm just saying that's a potential of something that could happen, which could benefit Morgan even more and more. And so I'm just trying to figure out if our dollars are being spent wisely in all areas, not just in the library building over here, but all over in the history department, which is part of yours. And because over time it's going to get bigger and bigger, and we're going to need more and more. So next year you're going to come to us and ask us for a full-time person at the history. Maybe. I'm just bringing that up. And so where does it end? Where
I would
does
just
it end?
say, like, she hasn't asked since I've been here, and we've had one full-time for 106 years.
Yeah,
I
think
know
that's
that,
kind of
but-
an unfair question
It's not an unfair
to
question.
say where does it end. I mean,
But the question is where does it end? Because we are growing, but we're not growing so much. And I'm saying it's not a large amount, but it's basically $80,000 a year.
$40,000.
No, with benefits, it's $80,000 a year. Okay, tell me what it is, Casey.
$40,000 more than what is currently budgeted,
Okay, you've got budgeted now 20,000 approximately.
approximately, for
Yes.
that employee.
Okay, we increase that by 20 more, and then we have another 45% on top of that for his benefits, or whoever benefits it is. So that's an additional amount 45% of it, between
40,000
40 to 45%. So I'm just saying,
$11.06.
that this is money that, yes, the public says our property taxes are too high. And I'm saying, okay, if we're going to bring our property taxes down, how are we going to bring property taxes down when the values of land is still going up and the values of houses, when all of a sudden we say, okay, we got a great employee here, we want to keep this employee. And I think he's a great asset to the county. But what I'm saying is do we really have a need at this time? Or is it a year from now? Is it, I mean, you know, how are we going to stop the amount of budgets that we continue to grow and grow and grow, and we're not stopping?
So-
After you, I can tell you another thing. The attorney's office is going to ask for another employee. The planning department is going to ask for another employee. Before long, we got to raise taxes.
So the answer to your question is, when does it stop, is when the commission says no. And so that's what she's coming before you today.
I know
She's
that.
presented it, and all the hypotheticals of what may happen in the future are irrelevant, except in your mind of saying, I may say no in the future. You might say no tonight, but the question and what's on the agenda for discussion is not future potential
Correct.
hypotheticals. And so if we can call the question or get back to the.
I want to make just one statement towards that, and then I think we should, I'll make a motion, I guess, but the library levy, we have not adjusted that in more than 2 decades.
Tax rate has actually.
The tax rate has gone down year after year after year for over 25 years because we have not adjusted that budget up, and the new growth has more than compensated for that. So what residents are paying today for library services is significantly less rate-wise than it was 20 years ago.
I understand.
So to say, well, where does it end? Well, we're growing, and as we grow, we're going to need more services. That's the truth of the matter. The attorney's office is going to have more cases as we grow as a community. They're going to need more people. We're going to need more people in the planning services office as we have more construction going. I mean, that's part of growth. It's going to happen. So to ask the question, well, when does it end? Well, it ends when the community stops growing. But I, for one, don't want to see that, because a community that stops growing is a community that dies. And we don't want a community that dies. We want a community that continues to grow and develop, hopefully appropriately and in a good way. But I think to ask that question is a little unfair, especially given that the library, in my 7 years here, 8 years here almost, has never asked for an adjustment to their budget above and beyond what they're already pulling in from the mill levy. And they haven't in the last 20 years. That's why it's where it is. That's why the rate or the dollar amount has gone up that we bring in, but that's simply because of new growth. It's not because the rate has changed at all. In fact, it's dropped year after year. So I would move that we approve this. The funds are already there. It doesn't affect the general fund at all. It's out of the library fund balance. It's funding that otherwise would roll back into the fund balance, and there's a healthy fund balance there as well of over $450,000. Last time I looked, it's probably more than that now, because that was last year. So it's probably closer to $500,000 today. And this is sustainable into the future, so it's not even one-time money. We're talking about sustainable money. So I would make a motion that we approve the $40,311.63 to be moved from the supplies to the permanent employee and salary and benefits line.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton, a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. I think, Blaine, I think we have to, Blaine was a nay on that. I
That
think-
was a nay, but I'd like to explain it if I can.
I think we have to have some confidence in our managers over the departments in what they feel like is needed. Each of us have been given assignments over those things, and I think as we discuss that with them, we definitely need to discuss that in a private setting, I think, and go over exactly why or why not before we get even to this point. So But we do need to trust them. That's why we hired them as well, as so because of their ability to manage and know what their department needs. So go ahead, Blaine, explain your nay.
My nay is basically because, I mean, I can agree with you that we need one eventually. I'm opposed to the fact that it's mid-year, and I would like to have it brought up at the budget time instead of now. That is my reason. And because we went against our own budget, even though it doesn't go against an increase in our budget this year, it will be next year, even though it's within your budget. And I have nothing wrong with you doing this, but it's just against the budget. And so that's my reason.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Aaron.
Aaron. Casey.
Can you tell them about the cheat sheet left on there?
Oh, yeah. So there's a cheat sheet. This is a.
Smallest font.
Loves to find anything.
Casey's got young eyes. He
Right?
can see those.
Remind me to bring my glasses.
So if on the top left corner you can see Cassell. Cassell is what we're currently using. I have it broken down by per payroll cost. So they charge us annually in July. That's $6,660. And then they charge us $1,400 each pay period. Because we have 26 pay periods, that's at $36,400 number. And then I've also included this at the applicant tracking system that we use for an annual total of $47,000. We went out for RFP on our HRIS payroll system, and most of the vendors gave us a 3-year cost because they had the implementation fees, and then they dropped down. So you can see on the very right, or sorry, the middle, ADP. So ADP year 1 was 41,000, and then year 2 was 35,000, and then goes up to 45,000. So I thought it was a fair comparison to do a 3-year cost breakdown. And so the Dominion payroll, which is the bottom middle, is the one that is going to be the cheapest. I've gone on a demo with them, and they have better service. So one of the complaints I get constantly from our employees for clocking in, especially our referees, our summer interns, all of those, the younger employees, is there's no app for them to clock in. And when they go to the website, it's a really long URL that they have to type in. They can't they can't Google Cassell, because if you go to Google Cassell, then you go to the wrong link. And so Dominion Payroll does have an app that they can clock in and clock out of, which is also helpful because then it can tell us where they clocked in and clocked out of. They have a geolocation on their phone. So if we see that employees are clocking in from their home residence, then we can have an issue with that and bring that up to them, which currently they can log on to their computer at home and clock out, and we can kind of infer things, but we can't say we know for a fact that you clocked in from home and you didn't clock in, but that's besides the point. That's just
It's got a GPS tracking?
yes. So when you click punch in, it will tell you where you punched in at. So if you're at the McDonald's down the street and you clock in, we can say, hey, you were getting breakfast. You weren't in your seat. You were.
It doesn't give you the chance to say only when using this app or not at all, or it's just automatically.
It does, but if you say no, then we can make sure that it doesn't.
Then we know
allow
you're
you.
just doing it.
Well, it doesn't allow you to
Won't
clock
even
in
let you
from your
clock
phone
in.
If you deny
if
that.
you deny
Okay.
the location services. So some of the payroll problems that we've had with Cassell is that it takes a very long time to get payroll done. So I started payroll at 10 a.m. yesterday, and I'm hoping they're finishing up soon today. But I'm not certain that they're going to be done. I think they'll be done tomorrow morning, maybe. So that's been frustrating for us, that we have to send it out to Cassell for them to do all the payroll. They send us back a payroll register. We tell them, hey, we found a couple of issues here and here. Can you fix it? It gets sent off. 3 hours later, they send us a new register. We say it looks good. and then they start on finalizing their processes, and it takes usually, so I sent them the okay back today at I think 11 a.m. and they're still working on payroll right now. And so with a new system, it would allow us to be able to keep that in-house with better customer service. So our treasurer's department has had issues with their reconciliation, and it's been a hassle to get a hold of Cassell. And Dominion Payroll, when I've been on the calls with them, they've sent us a sheet that says how many calls they've gotten, their response time, and they've had, I think their last one was 81% of all calls were answered within 20 seconds, and 100% of all tickets were answered within 8 hours. So it is better service for cheaper. So
The other thing I would add is the URS
oh
and the late fees we're
oh
paying.
yes, so we have had Cassell doing our 941s, and which is our quarterly tax filings, as well as our URS uploads, and they have been doing those late. And we just got an invoice at the end of the last year that it was $100 because they had filed our URS after the 30 days. And then we also got a $100 penalty from Department of Workforce Services for filing our 941s late. And so I've since taken those back over, but the Dominion Payroll said they would be able to fulfill those responsibilities for the 941s to be able to get those done on time.
Are there any other, like, local entities that are using Dominion that we know of?
UAC said they were using it, and they said they had a good experience with it. I will say so Dominion Payroll has a license for iSolved, which is the actual software we'll be using, and they'll license it to us. I'm not sure exactly how they define it, but I have used iSolved in the past, and I did not have any problems with it. So.
Question, if I may.
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing this. One thing I've noticed with Cassell, and when we were trying to do it 5 years ago, change things around at that point. Leslie brought up the fact, and I don't know if she's in here or not. Okay. But anyway, Leslie brought up the fact that the other company we were looking at that time could not integrate with Cassell. So does this one, and will it be able to integrate with Cassell unless we change Cassell too? Which I'm
Yes.
okay
So
with too.
what the integration is, they said they can export the GLs from payroll and they can import it into Cassell so that our budget will match, and we'll just have to do it each time. It should only take a few minutes to export and export out of Dominion, import into Cassell.
Okay, so Leslie is on board with this.
Yes.
So Casey, maybe you already answered this and I missed it. So you itemized years 1, 2, and 3. So $31,708. Will that be the same cost for 4, 5, 6?
So
Or is it
I'm
a
not-
yearly contract? Does it go up?
So we pay them per month. And typically what you see with these contracts, and I noticed this with ADP, NeoGov, and Paycom, is they have an option to raise it 1 to 3% after the 3 years. But when we get to that point, then we can negotiate those costs. With Cassell, it's also been increasing by that 1 to 3%.
Every 3 years?
I believe each year it's been
Every
for
year.
Cassell.
Okay.
So
But-
I can't guarantee that these costs will continue to go, but if we were to go with another payroll provider, it would
Same thing.
raise at the same rate.
Thank you.
There is a 90-day notice, and so we're not locked in long-term either. That's 90 days
Okay.
for either side to give notice, and then we could put it out for another RFP or whatever it is and look at a different provider.
Thanks.
So has the contract here been reviewed by you, and are we voting on the contract itself as well as a
That's my
wording?
understanding is what is being presented tonight. I know that there's some lag time, or we want to get this going as soon as possible. So it has been reviewed. I have two things that still, I think, need to go back to the contact that Casey has. And it's on page 2, section G. It talks about the limitation of liability. There's just some language there that needs to be updated to match the Utah Government Immunity Act. And then if you go to page 4, it talks about that it's going to be under Virginia law. And I just want to have some conversations about that to make sure that everything's clarified and we know what we're getting into. But once again, it's a 90-day, so if there was something wrong, we're not locked in long-term. But those are the two things that I would request, that it's approved subject to negotiation of those two terms with the county attorney's office.
You raising your hand, Commissioner Blocker?
No, I was just whopping the,
Are you ready for a
fun.
motion? Or is there more? Okay, Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve the agreement, the selection of Dominion as a new payroll provider for the county, and the agreement as listed in the packet this evening with the adjustments and approval of the county attorney as discussed.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Newton, a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
hi,
Aye. Are there any opposed?
thanks, Casey.
Thanks, Casey. Okay, we're going to go backwards on the agenda for just a minute. We had a latecomer for public comments, so we'll open the time up for 3 minutes for our latecomer.
Just need to state your name and where you live, please.
Sean York. I live in the Highlands community. I appreciate you going back for me. I just came, I had talked with most of you about this topic, about the upcoming changes to the Kent Smith Park there at the base of the Highlands community. And it's my understanding that with these the potential of the 4-acre lease from the Mountain Green Sewer District for the additional land there, I'm advocating for the inclusion of a completed baseball field. There's a backstop there, but the pickleball court got put in left field. And so we have a lot of young men in Mountain Green that play in the valley. There's nowhere for us to practice. My boy plays competitive baseball, and there's nowhere for us to practice in Mountain Green, so we either have to stay down there or we have to come to Morgan for a field. And if you know baseball, the ability to get your kid to throw from where he's fielding it to first base or third base, it's important to have that time on a field. And and I really don't care about the design, but I know there's a design plan being put together. So reusing the backstop, moving it, just the inclusion of a field that can be used from 8U up to at least 12U, which would require the movable base lines for like the posts that you can move the base lines. So that's all I had. I just wanted to be on the record, and I appreciate
Pitching mound, movable, I'm assuming?
Yep, pitching mound movable as well. So it's about a 200-foot, and I've walked it. I think there's enough room on the west north corner if that was your home base line. I think there's plenty of room there. I would assume that if you're leasing the sewer district ground, you wouldn't want to invest in this on that ground, but the soccer fields could be on that ground really easily. And then obviously we need some bleachers there. I have had thoughts of starting an 8U team or a 9U team and building it around my boy, but there's no option to do that unless we can practice in our community, as a team. So, and I appreciate the time all of you have given me on the phone otherwise, and I appreciate you going back for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like the going to bat pun. Haley's running late, so I don't know.
Okay, no, it's.
We could go through it if you want. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay,
Jubilee Tix, which is the company we've used for probably 10 plus years for ticket sales at the county fair, has gone out of business. And so we're forced to get a new vendor for that. We did an RFP. We got responses from 4 vendors. We really had to kind of go badger them because a lot of them were just not a big enough event for them to chase us, to be honest. But there are 4 options here. They have varying advantages and disadvantages. Ultimately, we believe that that first option listed there is the best option. Fee-wise, that will actually probably end up slightly less than what we have been paying under Jubilee. So I think it will work out pretty well. And even the...
you're talking about Ticket Spice?
Yeah, is that the name of it? Yes, Ticket Spice. So the second option would be that Sapphire, but that 7% of ticket price on a $15 ticket, that's $1 plus. So it's more than the 99-cent cost Ticket Spice is requesting.
But Sapphire's
Plus 50
compatible
cents, right?
with Venmo. Cut you off.
I believe they are. However, we've never used Venmo for ticket sales, and I don't think we intend to do that. You'd still be able to buy the tickets online. Like, we've never had Venmo set up for the fair. We're hoping to this year for some ancillary things. Oh, sweet. So it'd be for things like, not for actual ticket sales, but things like make and take and ride tickets and bounce house and things like that. We really need to have people, because we're doing reserved seating, you really have to buy your ticket online because you have to select a seat. So I don't know that the Venmo thing really matters at all in terms of compatibility with the ticket retailer.
However, wouldn't it be nice to be able to, I'm just stating this as a person that does not want to always have to do it online beforehand, is to be able to purchase it at the fair if there's an open spot. Because there
You can
was
still
one
do that
day-
with this retailer.
Okay, because that
You can
was-
do that with any of these retailers. They could come up to the booth, and that's what we've done in the past with Jubilee. Any open seats, we would still sell them, and somebody could come to the ticket booth, select their seat on the iPad there, and do it in person. So there would
Because I
still
know
be that
one
ability with any of
last
these.
year there was one night that was not filled, and if it had been available for people,
Oh, it was.
okay,
It was available, and we sold a number of tickets on site.
okay, all right.
So it's just, you have to, if you have reserved seats, you have to be there somehow to select it online. You can't just, it's not like the old days of cash where we would just hand them a wristband and people would go in. Now we have to, know which seat they're taking.
Okay.
So,
And I think it's been awesome.
yes, the reserved seating at the end of the day has been, there was a little adjustment for a couple of years of people getting used to that, but it's been much, much better than
No blankets.
And yeah, we don't have to worry about the blankets. You don't have issue of people taking up too much space. We're able to, fill the stands. We know how many tickets we've sold in advance. There's a lot of advantages to it. So anyway, I would make a motion that we move forward with awarding the proposal for county fair ticket sales to Ticket Spice, pending the county attorney's review and approval of the agreement for that service.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Yeah, I almost got beat up over a blanket once. It's
You definitely get yelled at sometimes.
people get pretty ticked off if you move their blanket.
Yep. Ticket Spice.
I just kept it in.
Okay, we are on E5, John Cannon for 9 Line.
Did we have a vote? Did we have a vote?
On the last motion, did we have a vote?
Yeah, we didn't
had
vote
the
on
motion
that,
and
did
the
we?
second, but we
I
didn't
thought
have a
we
vote.
Or did we?
No. we
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
have a
we
vote.
did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, 'cause I wrote it
said
down.
Newton,
We did.
Blocker, All in favor?
I said aye.
And then I made a comment after.
She's got it in the notes. We're good.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
he
I'm
says
fine
yes.
with it. I just,
Short-term memory.
What are you guys drinking? I need some of that.
I need to have something. I'll take a drink.
What is this?
So appreciate your time tonight. I'm here representing Buster Del Monte, who is the president of the Nine Line Project. And Buster's probably available by phone if we have to bust for him tonight, but he's still out of town visiting his grandkids. So when I left my house tonight, heading this way, my wife asked me a question. She said, "Do you know that at the store they sell, there's a rack for reading glasses for men and for women?" I didn't understand it, but when I got out of the car, I think it might mean that I'm wearing girls' glasses today. So
They look good,
I'm
John.
not sure what she meant, but I think these might have come off the women's section of the reading glasses. So,
My husband has those.
but anyway.
Hands-on.
So here we go. We'll try to be quick tonight, not take up too much of your time. I don't think there's any new information that we'll be discussing tonight. Quite a few items tonight regarding the Morgan County Airport. So I thought I'd just give a quick history of the airport. The airport was founded in 1958. County Resolution 124 on April 1993 reaffirmed that the county felt the airport was an important part of our community. Phase 1 development of the airport, which is the private section of the airport, commenced in 1994. The runway and the ramp was paved in October of 1994. And phase 1 of the private section of the airport was completed September 27th, 2023. And in your packet, I included the occupancy certificate just for fun of that last hangar. So that was quite a few years of accomplishment to get to where we are today. Phase 2, which is has been determined by the council to be the commercial aviation section, was started June of 2020 and is ongoing right now. That's what we'll be discussing tonight. So the Morgan County Airport consists of 28 acres of land. And over the last 12 months, let's see, we had 9,272 aircraft operations in our airport. That's broken down. This is out of FlightAware data, so there would possibly been more flights than this. 25 flights per day, 93 of those flights were general aviation and training exercises for student pilots. 6% were the military, and around 1% was air med and life flight. We currently have over 150 aircraft that are based out of the Morgan County Airport, all of which pay registration fees to the state of Utah, which are used to maintain our airport. We have around 30 student pilots who have received check rides, who are on their way to the airlines. A fair number of those were actually Morgan County High School graduates that are currently there at the airport. And these things are kind of hard to accomplish. Vaughn's son is on his way to the airline, just finished his instrument rating, correct? Yeah, very close to that. So now I'm going to get different glasses out because those don't work. These are my wife's glasses, just so you are. They're not quite nice. Anyway, so basically, I'm just gonna very quickly go back through the Phase 2 project. Nine Lines committed certain things to the county, which I feel they have kept their commitment on these things. These are basically, the Nine Line Company is a unique part of our community. The owner and the president lives right there adjacent to the airport. They committed to build a high quality six-figure hangar. They committed to make that hangar look nice and appealing in the community, and they committed to landscape and complete all the improvements, which they did. They committed to create job opportunities. They certified a maintenance shop, and they've taken Morgan High School interns into that shop under the supervision of the mechanics. Up to this point, Nine Line has invested around $360,000 in planning cost fees and infrastructure into our airport. They have committed to continue with the Aero Club project, which would be hangar number 5 that we've talked about in our lease. And that would be an opportunity to bring in some type of an aero club to make it less expensive for people to get into aviation. And lastly, they committed an air carrier to our community. So the Morgan County Airport now officially has an FAA certified air carrier. This was certified October 20. The certification started October 2022, and the certification was completed January 29th of this year, and the first charter flight left Morgan for St. George. So that's kind of an exciting thing for our airport. So just kind of moving forward, I kind of scrubbed out a quick letter and of the reason we wanted to visit with you guys tonight. And as I reviewed our previous meetings, we've been here before the council 4 times, and then we've also had work sessions. I don't know, 3 or 4 work sessions probably on the topic, and it was kind of interesting to re-listen to those meetings and listen to the concerns and comments and things of the council. And it made me realize how hard everybody works to try to get something that works for everybody involved. So we really appreciate that. And so basically, we're here tonight. We have submitted building permits for hangar 3, 4, 2, 3, and 4. So those would be the 3 60 by 60 hangars. Well, I think we've submitted for the other smaller hangar also. And we're in that process working with the building department, and they've been good to work with. We have a good relationship with them, and Dustin's been great working on our plan reviews and helping us find the documents and things that we sometimes miss. Anyway, we were informed by the staff that the administration had informed them to reject our building permit applications. And we don't really understand why that is. And so we requested a meeting through the airport manager, and the airport manager referred us to the county council. So we're here tonight to try to scrub that out, figure out where we're at, and move forward. And so that's kind of why we're here tonight. I have included, and for our review, I've included an airport lease. I've included the documents that went along with that. And so we just want to find out what the concerns are, and then see what we can't do so we can get moving forward on the project.
So if I can speak, I think that there's been other communications that have happened since what you just suggested, because originally I sent an email to Buster saying, hey, it's my understanding that XYZ is happening. Here's where I see the lease. And you were copied on that. And so you know what the concerns are, at least from my perspective. And then there was...
regarding our building permits?
No, regarding human occupancy or habitancy in the hangars.
We're happy to discuss that tonight, but I haven't had any information regarding our current building permits that we
And
have
I don't know that
submitted.
that's accurate either, because I had a phone call saying that with Commissioner Wilson, because he texted me about it, and we said that at this point, if the building permit is limited to the shell only and it doesn't deal with habitancy. And so
Tenant include, we haven't applied for any tenant.
exactly, and so the building permits aren't being held up. Like, there's no question on that. That can move forward.
Okay.
And so I just
that-
want to narrow
that
the
in-
scope
right,
of
exactly.
what we're talking about, because I think that
That
it's a
information came
non-issue.
directly from the building department. They called me on the phone, and
And they
that's
haven't
what
called you since?
I have not had any communication with them since.
Okay.
Yeah, Dustin called me.
And he didn't say that you can move forward with
No,
the
we have
shell
not.
only?
We have not had any information like that yet.
Okay. All right.
And we're just waiting. We need to go through the regular process.
Right.
We haven't paid our fees. We haven't, gotten our, possibility there's something else he needs. But
Yeah.
so we went from him informing me that the process was stopped, and so that's kind of where we're at today.
Well,
and
if
I'm
the fees
happy
haven't
to.
been paid,
I wouldn't
let me just say,
mind-
if the fees haven't been paid, the process hasn't started, because you don't get a building review until you have a
We've
complete
paid
application.
those fees, but we haven't paid for our permits yet. So we've paid $750 for every hangar that we submitted and every permit we've asked for. And those reviews are in process. And at the end of that process, we'll get a bill from the county and we'll pay that bill, and then the permit will be issued. In my understanding of the process.
Okay.
If I'm incorrect about that, let me know, but that's how it's always worked in the past.
I just know that last week we had the conversation and the building permits were going to move forward as they're
That has not
submitted.
been relayed to me at all.
Okay.
I've had no
All right.
information regarding that.
So John,
I wouldn't mind addressing, it seems like it seems like for some reason, Garrett, someone is concerned about what Buster would eventually want to do with these buildings. And I'd like to scrub that out tonight, because the issue to me is, as we look at it, as the contractor, I have to inform him, like, okay, what is the future use of this building? So if he wants the future use to be a certain thing, we may have to bring more utilities in, or we might have to bring a fire sprinkler system in, or we might have to do something that we have to stub into these buildings prior to, so that when the tenant improvements happen, that the infrastructure is there to support it. So if his lease allows him to do certain things, say for example, a paint shop, okay? And he wants to put a paint shop in there, the fire marshal might require a sprinkler system for that paint shop. And so right now, we would want to spend the money, we'd want to bring those water lines in, stub those utilities in, to make sure that those things are available, so that, when the tenant improvement comes in, he wants to do a paint shop, it's easy for us to do that. We don't want him to have to spend more money. The other issue is that it seems as if I've heard rumors that you guys have a problem with, is the lease allows for short-term lodging for equivalent to an FBO or a VRBO type situation where pilots would fly in. This was discussed in detail when we were scrubbing out the lease. And
Well, I have the timestamps, and it wasn't discussed in detail, and I'm happy to speak to it because I listened to all the meetings myself and made notes.
I'm not
and
trying to
sent
be
that out, but
adversarial.
I'm
I'm just
just
trying to
saying
go
that
off
when you're
the
saying it
lease,
was discussed in detail,
know.
it really wasn't discussed in detail. It was a passing comment that then shifted to sales tax discussion. So
Okay, so
at the end
let's
of the
just-
day,
let's-
let me stop you there, because I'm just going to say you can't enter an illegal or unconscionable agreement. A court will never uphold an illegal agreement.
So
And
are you
if
saying our
there's-
lease is illegal?
There's a portion of it that is under your interpretation, and there's a superseding portion of the lease. And so
Okay.
rather than spinning our wheels in a public meeting and hearing the whole presentation, I can direct you to that. We're already doing research into FAA requirements because the FAA, they preempt this field. They occupy the field for aviation. So even if we passed an ordinance that said human habitation is allowed at the airport and we go against what our code currently says, if the federal says you can't do that, then they occupy the field and preempt our code and supersede it regardless of what this 5-member body does.
Okay.
And so I don't know what those answers are completely. We've looked
Well, I
into
think
it a
that'd be a
little
good
bit.
process to go through, because
Yeah.
what we don't want to have happen is we don't want to have a lease that we all worked on together. That in that lease, we specified certain things that Buster was allowed to do. If he's not allowed to do these things, and if his conditional use permit does not apply to these items, okay? Or if we made a mistake and these things are illegal or whatever, we need to take care of that before he spends a lot of money and before this turns into some kind of a big old fight because he felt he was being allowed to do this. He's moved forward, he's invested money, and then next thing you know, he feels like that we're acting in bad faith and that he's backed into a corner and we have a fight. So if you have a suggestion, I'm happy to accept your suggestion. If you want to meet, if you want to go over those things, if you want to get with Buster and explain to him, why he can't do the certain things that we've done in the lease, if we need to modify the lease or redo the lease, I don't think that we'll find that Buster is unreasonable whatsoever.
And I don't think
And-
that either. In fact, that's something I did want to say is as I'm going back, I can totally see where
Everybody worked hard on this.
both of us are saying different things using the same term that wasn't ever defined. So, as he's going through, he actually says, sleep with your plane and go skiing. So he actually said those words in the public meeting.
Correct.
And
yeah.
so there wasn't anything where he was trying to sneak something
No,
in
we're not
or
trying,
anything like
nobody's
that.
trying to sneak anything in.
Yeah,
And-
he's acting in good faith, but then every time I'm talking about it, I'm talking about housing the plane and comparing it that it's different from phase 1. And so we're both in our minds talking about what it is, but at the end of the day, the lease controls, and section 6 of the lease says that he has to comply with any current laws in place at the time. And our code doesn't allow for habitation at the airport. Also,
Right,
the
and I
conditional
guess-
use
I guess
permit,
the-
I'll just go
yeah,
back to
go
the
ahead.
conditional use permit that came before the commission and was approved in about August of 2022.
Correct.
It was only related to aviation-related activities at the airport, not about habitation, because a habitation CUP has completely different conditions. Josh can speak to that. So once again, I don't think that there was any bad faith on either side. I think that we were talking about what was in our minds, and the way that Buster interprets it and what he was presenting isn't allowed by our code. And I think that it's fair to say that if Josh had heard, pilots sleeping with their planes, if I had heard that, and I don't know what the commission remembers and what they took from that, but I think if we had heard that, we would have been like, ooh, whoa, that's another discussion.
So help me understand this. I'm not an attorney, and when I listened to you going through and explaining everything, I think you did a great job, and I think you worked really hard on trying to get what we needed in these agreements. I know you spent a lot of time doing that, but as we look through in section 1 of the lease, we specifically put in here short-term aviator lodging rental. Okay. That language was specifically put in the lease to address this concept that Buster's talking about.
And it
Now,
was
I
sent
don't
by
know-
Buster and copied and pasted because he said, I need all the commas. And I said, okay. So we put it in. And I totally agree with.
This was a mistake.
Yeah.
We need to scrub that out.
I
But-
think so.
But the way I read that is, I've never called up a hotel and said, hey, do you have any lodging available for my car? I might say, do you have any parking? But I mean, and so if that was put in there, you guys missed it. I think that's what we need to talk about and try to work through and understand that. But
But let me take you to 6. Can you go to 6, Kate?
Can I just say, I don't think
'Cause-
we missed it, but I was interpreting it the same way Garrett was, where it is lodging for an actual airplane, not a person. So I don't think we missed it. I think, as Garrett said, we were interpreting it.
And obviously I knew, I knew because I'm involved with it, but last time I checked, if you park your plane, you gotta have a place to stay. We don't have a hotel that you can walk to from the airport to go to the hotel. So you gotta have a
Right,
place
but if
to.
they fly in, they go skiing, they're going to be traveling to go skiing somewhere, and then they'll stay at the Waldorf or the Motel 6, right? Whatever floats their boat.
Well, sure, but
So-
his whole thing was I'll have a rental car for them, all that stuff. So it's like you said, sleeping with your airplane. It's
And I do remember
Yeah.
that too.
obviously got
He did.
missed.
Yeah,
I remember him
he
saying
said it,
that.
and then Blaine went immediately into sales tax,
Yeah.
like right after that. So I mean, you can watch the meeting, but
did. I've
watched
regardless
it many times.
of what is in the lease, Section 6 is still a superseding paragraph
we
because
get that. If
it's
for
not
some
allowed by the
if
code-
for some reason he's prohibited to do it,
Yeah.
we understand that. I think we need to work through that just to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. And I would like to just, I'd like to set up a time and try to do that with you and see if we can't help him work through that so he understands. But the bottom line
I
is,
think Buster would say that I've spent hours with him and I've always been willing to meet with him.
Yeah.
If he wants to meet, I'm totally willing to meet with him. So I think we should do that. We can hammer it out. I'm willing to do the research on the FAA stuff, and if it's allowed,
Yeah,
then
I'm
it's
sure
a
Buster's
discussion
willing
with
to
the
do it too.
commission to say, do we want a text amendment to change our code so it's not illegal under our code? I think that all of those are reasonable places to go, but it's not, we can't hang our hat on one piece of language from the lease if it would result in an illegal application of our code.
okay, and I understand that. I just want to make sure that during the last meeting I had before he left town, he is an asset to our community, and he is spending a lot of money down there at the airport. And we play this game, what business will survive in Morgan? We do it all the time. We go, oh, well, what business could we bring to Morgan? I even know people that, a couple idiot brains that thought a bowling alley could survive in Morgan, and and it didn't work out very good for those guys, But everybody say a bowling alley is a good idea. We have to remember that we have limited Buster. Now, this is coming from me personally as a citizen of the community and not the general contractor. Those two things are different. We have limited him. His scope is limited to what he can do with these hangars. If everything goes wrong after he invests millions of dollars at our airport, if everything goes wrong, he is not allowed to rent that to a private individual to put their airplane in. He's not allowed. The lease does not allow him to do that. He does not have that flexibility. Now, for me, I'm out. I'm not going to put my $1 million down there at our airport because I don't have the flexibility of doing what I know will work. What will work is we can find somebody who wants to rent one of those airplanes for their private plane. And we know that will work. But that's not what the commission wants. The commission wants commercial use. It was hammered out. It was very clear through that process. And so where he is limited to commercial use related to aviation, he needs to have as many tools in his belt possible to make this thing work. Now, I happen to do some work for Aviat Aircraft. So I travel to Afton, Wyoming, where the factory is. And we would love to move some of those operations to Morgan, but we don't have the facility to do that. So what happens in Afton, Wyoming is they have lodging available at the airport. Whether it's on airport property or not, I'm not sure. It's very close. They have a lot of residential housing units connected at the airport there in Afton, if anybody's ever been there. So whether they're on the airport property or not, I don't know. But what happens is when people come in for training, that's where they stay. Those are concepts that would be good for Morgan, where we collect the tax revenue, they fly in, they stay at the airport, they get their training, we collect their taxes, they fly away, they never drive their car on our road, you know. And so for me, I just want to make sure as we go through this, we make sure he has the ability to be successful, because our runway is 3,900 feet long and 50 feet wide. And there's some aviation businesses that just can't operate at our airport. They're just not going to come. And so although we want that, we also, it's not going to do any of us any good if he fails in doing this. And so this VRBO concept that he talked about throughout the course of negotiating the lease, this was a concept that he believes in, he feels strongly about, and he would like to do. Now, if it's illegal for whatever reason, I don't know, you know, or if there's some problem for whatever reason, I don't know. But I think we need to be sensitive to those things. And, you know, otherwise, if he feels like he's backed into a corner where he can't be successful, he's not going to want to invest his money in our airport. And I think right now having this commercial center at our airport would be really good for the airport. It's going to be the most beautiful spot on the airport. If you look at what he's done, it's the only piece of the airport that's landscaped right now, and they're doing a great job getting the rest of the landscaping done down there, thanks to you guys putting up the money to do that. But I think we kind of want that down there. For me personally, I think it'd be a good thing for our community and good revenue generator. I'm happy to answer any other questions.
And to be fair to the county, I'll just give the other side too. Going back and listening to these meetings, I think the commission did a great job being reasonable and acknowledging
absolutely.
that Buster does have a monopoly at the airport as far as commercial goes. So it's a great opportunity as well as an investment. I mean, it goes both, every two-edged sword cuts both ways. When he's bringing up the VRBO, he never talked about it being in multiple hangars. It was always, you know, maybe one for a VRBO, and then he had these other options that are coming. I don't know if he was planning it in all of them just to have the option.
I don't
or
believe,
not,
no, I don't
but
believe so.
that's something.
I believe it got documented in the leases on all of them to give him flexibility. And I think the words he used as I reviewed those minutes was, you know, something like flexibility is the key to air power or something like that.
Right.
Is I think what he said. And so
But I don't think
he just wants some
having
flexibility.
If the lease wasn't based on a VRBO, that was one option of many commas that we provided in the lease. And so to say that this throws everything off, I think is unfair to the whole process of how the county was working with him to provide as many commas as possible and say, well, does this work for you? Does this work for you? If you think of something else, come back and let's make sure that the commission approves it, that there's no additional CUP required, that it falls in line with our land use,
Correct,
all
yeah.
of those things. And so I think
that's where the wordage of the list of items, but not limited to, that you wisely put in the agreement, you know, was to try to give him that flexibility. So, you know, we're not saying that anybody's acting in bad faith or anything like that. We're just trying to make sure that, you know, this is just a concept that he likes, that he believes in, and whether he does it or not, I don't know. But I sure would hate to build his buildings and not put the infrastructure in for future tenant improvements, and then have him say, "What were you guys thinking? You know, I need another water line. I need more power. I need a bigger service. I need, you know, these items." So we're trying to scrub that out right now and get that taken care of.
I will agree with you that Buster is a great asset to the community. He's a great person, and we want him to be successful. But the county didn't ask him to come buy this land, all of it, and develop it,
They
right?
didn't buy any of it. We're
That's
leasing it to them at a
Well, yes, thank
really,
you.
really cheap rate, I might
Yeah,
add.
thank you. Not buy
That's the
it, but
cheapest land in the entire
invest
county.
in it, I should say. Thanks, Mike. Invest in it. It's an investment, right? It's a risky investment. Investment is risky.
It's hopefully an investment.
But we want him to be successful. That being said, we had other people that are interested in leasing the land as well, but we ended up going with Buster, and he does have the monopoly over there. So yeah, we do want to follow the code and figure it out. So
Right, and I think, I think, and I agree with what you're saying, and I think though that Buster's proven himself to the county on what he's willing to do and the effort and the time that he's spent on it. I mean, if you were to look at an ROI on some of these aviation businesses, it's going to be tough go. Somebody's going to have to work at it pretty hard. And so, I just think that as we move forward, we want to make sure that we're supporting and, trying to help him with, be successful as we can.
Okay.
And I think, to mirror what Commissioner Blocker said, we want him to be successful. With that said, I met with Garrett and Josh just briefly before the commission meeting, and we discussed the VRBO, the options, the ideas that basically we're wanting to delineate a line between section 1 and section 2, phase 1, phase 2, commercial versus non. With that said, there, as you said, there are things that he can do that others can't, and things others can do that he can't because
Correct.
of where they are. And that's where Garrett was kind of going with the FAA is if we decide to do a text amendment, we want to make sure that we're not encroaching upon what the FAA says you can't do. And that's where I think Garrett was like, if we want to do this, if we do want to make a text amendment to change our code to allow phase 2 and Airbnb or things like that, I think we need to make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's that we're not, that we would be, if we do it, that we would be in compliance with federal law.
Right, and I don't believe our airport's governed under FAA regulations, nor do I think it should be governed under those regulations. The pilots that operate out of the airport are governed under FAA regulations.
See, and
But we don't accept, that I know of, I could be incorrect, okay? I don't know that we're accepting funds right now from the FAA on our airport, nor do I think that our airport would meet their standards. So it's a private county airport.
We did once.
Thank you.
We did receive money from the federal government for $94,000
Yeah.
3 years ago.
We have.
Our manager said
I've worked
that,
with the grant managers
I
on
don't
all
think
of
that was
that,
from
and
the
so we're still
FAA.
subject to
Yeah, it
the
did.
departments, but I think that's a discussion
I
for
think we
another
need to
time
figure that out.
because,
Exactly.
at least for today, it was very limited in scope to discuss concerns. I think we've done that and maybe we can meet and follow up on that as well.
I think that'd be great. So,
Okay.
any other
I have a
questions for
question.
me?
I've got a couple for you. I'm just kind of concerned where you said that and I'm going back over what you've just discussed. The staff, you requested a meeting with the staff and were denied. And then you were referred to us. Okay, so my question is why were you denied? And what was the problem with being denied? And that may be on you, it may
It's
be
on
on
me.
you, okay? I need to know the answer.
Okay, so
And I don't know that was Kate. I don't know
it
who
was.
that was. I was
It totally
working
was.
with Dane Will.
So he had met with Garrett. Garrett had given him an answer. And then,
I
we
sent
was on
an
email
email.
thread.
Okay,
So then on Tuesday, March 31st at 11:07, he sent an email wanting to meet that day. I don't know if you've ever tried to meet with me the same day.
yeah, I know, you never can.
There's no way. So I hadn't responded to the email. Dane called me and said, hey, he wants to meet with you on this today. And I believe my words were, well, if dad said no, mom's not going to give you a different answer. But I don't have time to meet with him. So,
All right, that's good.
and then he said he was going to be out of town. So we didn't even originally have him slated for this meeting,
Okay,
which is what Matt and I were texting about to get him back on the agenda because we missed the part where
Okay.
John was going to be
so
here.
then my second question is under his lease agreement May 6, 2025, under premises and terms, under 1B. Okay? It says the leasee may perform commercial aviation-related activities, including but not limited to FFA-approved air taxi and charter operation, pilot training, aircraft paint shop, aircraft sales, fixed base operations, aviation fuel sales, sale of aircraft parts, short-term aviator lodging rental. That right there, if that's in our lease, he's allowed to do that.
You
So
missed
then
the
you-
whole discussion that we've just had,
Just-
Blaine, so
I
I'll
didn't.
copy
So
it, I'll
I'm
clip
just-
it, and I'll email
okay.
it to you because I'm not
But-
gonna explain it again.
Okay, but I'm just telling you that this is in his lease and I can see where he's got a problem.
And I totally agree, and we discussed that at length,
We can discuss it later, and I don't think we ought to continue discussing it right now.
and that's
Okay.
exactly what I just said. So thank you for
Okay.
agreeing.
So
I
just,
just wanted to bring that up in public.
just kind of in closing, I want to make it clear. I don't think we have an adversarial relationship with the county or the building department or anyone. Communication is a difficult thing, and so sometimes we just don't get communication the way we should. But the building department has always worked well with us, and we're not saying that anybody had any malice in this situation. We just wanted to try to scrub it out as quick as we could so we can move forward.
I agree. And Buster and I, we communicate very well, and we answer emails, and we meet often when something comes up. So
Okay, thanks.
continue to do that.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for the history of the airport. That was fun, John.
Okay, Kate.
Okay, so in going through trying to clean up our airport leases, we have 4 that are, oh, did I miss a word on the agenda? I did. We have 4 that are not signed by the commission chair. So this is my request to affirm those. Hangar DD3 was done June 7th of 2025, or July of 2025. I do have the meeting minutes where it was approved. It was just never signed. So since we were going through the motions, I thought we would just go ahead and affirm all of those leases so that Commissioner Wilson can sign those this evening.
So these are all affirmed, or these are all approved, just not we want to affirm these first 4, A through D.
I know DD3 is. The other ones I can't
Can't find.
But they do look like the forms as of the dates that are shown on the lease. There's many iterations of the lease over time, and they're all signed by the parties, but not by the
Correct. They're just
commission.
missing the commission chair signature.
And Hangar DD3, that was the most recent one, if you look at the assignment and assumption, I have signed the approved as to form, we just didn't get the commission chair signature.
Okay.
So all we're asking for is a signature.
Yes, to affirm the lease so that Chair
Legal.
Wilson has the authority to
Binding.
sign.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve and affirm the leases and approve signature for Hangar A-2 dated January 13th, 2021, D-1 dated January 15th, 2013, Hangar CC 2 and 3 dated October 5th, 2021, and Hangar DD3,
July 125.
July 1st, 2025.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
So before we get to 8, and the reason that this is in the order that it is in the current lease. So there's a lease and assumption of lease, or assignment and assumption of lease, bless you. So you have, Kate assigning the lease over to Garrett, and Garrett assuming the lease. In the current way that that's written, if I were to sell my hangar lease to Garrett right now, he inherits whatever my lease rate is. I don't think, listening to the conversations with the commission over the last 12 months, specific to the lease rate of the county, some of those are exceedingly de minimis. And So the question is, does the commission want to change the language in the lease and assumption that if you assign the lease to someone else as of today's date, that it will be at the most current rate per square foot for that lease? There's two lease rates. One is for the hangar lease itself, and some of them also have an external cement pad that they pay a separate rate for. But right now, they would be literally assuming the previous lease. And if that's 8 cents a square foot, they're inheriting 8 cents a square foot.
I thought we had discussed that.
It's never been,
Like when we were doing the rate increase that we did and telling them it had to be on the new leases, that it had to be
Yeah,
3% plus a 5-year average of the CPI. At that time, we also said any new leases,
would be
But
at
it's-
the current.
even
or should be. That
even
was the intent.
assumptions,
But
they had to
that's-
come back to us for a.
and I understand that that was your intent,
We just need to
but
clarify
the
that.
meeting minutes are specific to new leases and do not speak to the assumption of a previous lease.
I
And
thought we
that's
had
why I need
discussed that.
clarification, that if on an assumption, since it's not technically a new lease, it's assuming the responsibilities of the previous lease within that contracted term, which is why we attach the previous lease to the new assumption and assignment, that it will be at the new rate.
I think we should do that.
I think we should do a new rate too, because that's what we discussed.
Yeah, we just need to.
We just
clarify.
need to clarify.
Correct.
So,
Clarify and vote on it.
Mr. Chair, I move that we clarify that any assumptions of airport hangar leases will be required to match the current lease rate.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So in that you have two transfers or assignments and assumption requests. This one is completely new. It is from Stephen Hooper to William S. Dunn. The language in this current will need to be adjusted to what you just voted on to match the current lease rate. So I will need to modify that, otherwise, like I said, it would currently be at the assumed release of 15 cents at 2%. So we will need to modify the assumption for this one, but this is the transfer request, and it's for Charlie 4, going from Stephen B. Hooper to William S. Dunn.
And so you're gonna be putting in there the new rate, which is whatever the 16 cents.
26 cents.
No, that's for the commercial side.
Oh, that's
It'll
commercial,
be
that's
at
16 cents at 3%.
16 plus 3% per year, so whatever the rate is currently.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this would just be approving assignment and assumption subject to the rate increase.
So you just want to do one
So
at a time.
I have a
Yes,
question.
because it's different than the second one.
At one time, we had been discussing, and I don't know if this has come about yet, we had discussed a rate different for those residences versus non-residents of the county, since this is county property. We were thinking of changing that, and I don't know how that is in the process.
So we are in the county wide is in the middle of its impact fee and fee analysis study. And part of that fee analysis study is airport fees to include hangar leases, tie downs, et cetera.
Okay.
So I will make an additional note to LRB that the commission is interested in a residential rate versus non-residential rate.
That's correct.
And you want residential as in county or state?
County.
County, okay.
That's my opinion. I'm only one though.
I think that's a good idea too.
Well, you'll have to,
Right.
they'll give you two
When
different
they give
rates and
us
then
the
you guys can
proposal.
approve it.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the assignment assumption of hangar CC4 from Stephen D. Hooper to William S. Dunn with the adjustments made for the lease per square foot, cost per square foot.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Nickerson and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay, this is one that you affirmed 2 action items ago as F6 Delta or Echo 6 Delta for DD3. This was the one from July, one that that missed the signature. When the lady that took over the lease filled out her paperwork, she filled it out as Flight Mode Aviation LLC, which does not exist. It is actually Flight Mode LLC, no word aviation. So she asked if she could modify that, and I said, well, you can, but I have to have a new lease. So this is the same owner, but correcting the LLC. This is already at the current rate at the 3% year over year.
We just looking to approve the correction.
But well, it's technically
It's
a
a
new
new lease.
lease.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the assignment and assumption of hangar DD3 Flight Mode Aviation to LLC to Flight Mode LLC.
Have a motion by Commissioner Nickerson and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Okay.
yeah, we'll take a 5-minute recess and,
Thank you.
oh, you're fine.
Oh, good. Okay, so do we need to re-clarify that vote?
I don't think so because
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. So we are back on E9. Josh, Jeremy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening to the County Commission. Action item E9 is the Wasatch Peaks Ranch Phase 4A.1 Upper Townhomes Residential Site Plan. That's application number 25.054. The applicant being the WPR entity, the project location being approximately 5233 West Wasatch Peaks Road, and is identified by the parcel number and serial number in your meeting packet tonight. The current zoning of the property is a resort special district with an applicable development agreement. The acreage being 3.7 acres for tonight's request, and Mr. Chair, the request is for site plan approval of the Wasatch Peaks Ranch Phase 4A.1 Upper Townhomes Residential Site Plan to allow for the construction of 6 townhomes. The site plan application is a longer and involved application with a lengthy checklist that includes several items for staff to review. There is a full engineered site plan submitted. There is a parking plan, of which, unlike commercial projects, the parking is just shown as 4 total driveways, 2 that T and 2 that are individual for each unit. The landscaping plan was submitted. A photometrics plan that measures again, compliance with the county's dark sky ordinance was submitted. The building materials, while generally being reviewed under a site plan application, in this case, is actually reviewed against the applicant's development agreement. An elevations plan is also submitted along with utility and grading and drainage plans. So staff, or reviewing staff consisting of the county engineer, the fire department, and planning staff, having reviewed this application, recommends approval to this body tonight. The Planning Commission heard this item at their regularly scheduled meeting on March 26th, 2026. There were no comments made during the public comment portion of the meeting. Discussion from the Planning Commission was minimal, where addressing a comment from, hold on one second. The Planning Commission discussed the application process for a site plan. They asked the question of why site plans go all the way through reviewing staff to Planning Commission recommendation and then to County Commission approval. They discussed ways to hopefully take some steps out of the administrative process for such a robust application as a site plan application. That concluded most of their discussion. Staff indicated that any changes to the application process would be better discussed with the County Commission directly, so there may be a work session in the pipeline with the Commission, so just by way of heads up. The Planning Commission voted to give a positive recommendation to the County Commission with a vote of 5-0. Member Watt was absent from the meeting that night. Mr. Chair, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Josh and Kent and I can answer those questions, and the applicant is in the audience tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any questions for Jeremy or the applicant?
No, seems real straightforward to me.
Okay, if not, I'll look for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we approve WPR Phase 4A1 Upper Townhome Site Plan and Small Subdivision Preliminary and Final Plat applications.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Action item E10 is the Wasatch Peaks Ranch Subdivision Phase 6C and 6D Preliminary Plat Modification. It is file number 25.051. The applicant and owner, again being the Wasatch Peaks Ranch LLC group, and the project location, again being at approximately 5233 West Wasatch Peaks Road, identified by the parcel numbers and serial numbers in your packet tonight. The current zoning being, again, a resort special district with an applicable development agreement. the acreage affected being much larger at approximately 276.60 acres combined. The request is for preliminary plat approval of an 18-lot subdivision divided into 2 more phases, namely 6C and 6D. The previous application having been closer to the North Village area, this application is north of the North Village area. It's the most northernmost phase at this point. And the request stems from the fact that Plat 6 has already been recorded by the county. In that plat, phases A and B were completely defined with both boundaries for the subdivision and individual lots defined. But phase C was not defined. Only the subdivision boundaries were defined. And so the reason for that, Mr. Chair, was that there was an ongoing geohazards report that was being filed with an applicable geoscoping application that was not completed at the time of the subdivision. So this was following a recommendation from staff to get Plat 6 forward. The geo has since been completed, I believe, and so this request does 2 things. It defines phase 6C, and then it completely adds both subdivision boundaries and defined lots for phase D. So that's a mouthful, but that's the reason for the combination of 2 smaller phases with, again, no previous lot entitlements for phase 6C. So the size of the lots in the subdivision, Mr. Chair, there are some smaller lots. The range of these lots ranges from 0.74 acres at the smallest to 7.23 acres at the largest. The majority of said lots being larger in size, Mr. Chair. The applicable utility services in the area are the Wasatch Peaks Ranch Utility District, the Wasatch Peaks RFD, that's the Road and Fire District, and again, reviewing staff having consisted of the county engineer, Morgan County Fire Department, and planning staff all having reviewed this recommend approval to this body. The Planning Commission heard this item on their regularly scheduled meeting on March 26th. There were comments made during the public comment portion of the meeting regarding the need to respect landowner water rights and maintain ditches, irrigation channels, and waterways, particularly in the area of the subject property. Discussion from the Planning Commission included questions about whether ditches needed to be labeled on subdivision plats, and staff has been commissioned to research that question. Planning Commission did vote that night to recommend approval of the application with a 5-0 vote, and again, Member Watt was absent from the meeting. Again, Josh, Kent, and I can answer any of your planning related questions, and the applicant is again in the audience tonight. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Jeremy. Questions?
Yeah, I have some. Okay, on your plat map here that you've got some parcels here, whether it's you or them. I don't care who comes
I don't
up.
think it's Jeremy.
No, it's not. So I don't know if you want to bring up the applicant.
Sure.
Is there a spot you want me to zoom to, Commissioner?
And you're on the right page. It's just that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 questions or 6 plots that I'm kind of questioning.
Okay.
How do, okay, it's B54, B50, B5, well, that one's okay, B64, and B39 and B38. These do not have access to a road. How are they going to get into them?
B54, B50, B64. What was the other 2?
Okay, B54,
Got it.
B50,
Got it.
B64,
Got it.
B39, and B38. And that was it.
Some of these
And
have
B10.
shared driveways. So if you look a little further on the sheets like C1.01 and 1.02 and 1.03, etc., You are going to see those driveways, particular on C 1.04. You'll see a shared driveway there.
All I see is the ski runs.
Are you looking on sheet C 1.04?
This is all I have in the
This is all we
packet.
We
have
don't
right
have
here.
those.
What's up there?
So each of the staff reports has a link that you can click on that brings up all the documents related to this
It says
application.
View a full-size version of it.
Yeah. Their development agreement allows a lot of their lots to not have access on a road, but to be served by access easements. So that's not really an issue.
Well, but it is an issue because if I were to buy B, if I could ever afford it, B30 or whatever, it's on the other side of a ski run. And yeah, I want the privacy of the ski run if I ever skied. And so how am I going to get to it if I wanted to buy that one?
There's a driveway on one of the sheets that Brian referenced. So each of the lots has access to a road, whether they front on it or not.
Okay. I just know when Robert was here, he would question those things just like I'm questioning now.
No, Robert did question it, and the answer is the same today as it was then, that the lots are allowed to be accessed through access easements if they don't front on a street, so.
Okay.
I think part of the confusion is you don't have sheet C 1.01.
Yeah.
If you had that, Blaine, you would see that there's a driveway that extends from the road to B.
Okay. And then in your discussion, you were saying that B65 is more than the 7.23 acres that you said. So is there a reason that one's so much bigger? Is it just a selling point or what?
Actually, I think there was a mistake in that. Those are the BAE sizes, the building activity envelope sizes. So that's why you see 7 acres versus 14. So the whole lot is 14. The buildable is 7 acres.
Okay. And so none of these areas are going to be agricultural?
That's correct. Our master declaration and our design guidelines do not allow it.
Okay.
For this phase.
All right. I just don't want somebody coming back and asking for greenbelt.
Hopefully I answered your questions.
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve WPR Phase 6C and 6D preliminary plat modifications.
A second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good evening. This is Kent Page. He is the county's new senior planner. He is going to be doing the presentation for the next one, but I thought I'd introduce you to him. And then fun fact, he did work here in 2001 when there were triple Kents in my office. So, if you have questions for him, feel free to grill him.
Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Chair and County Commission. We have this item number 11 before you. It's application number 25.057. It's for a final plat for Shadow Creek Development. It's located approximately 145 South Morgan Valley Drive. Staff has reviewed the final plat and recommends approval. It's for 14 lots in the RR5 zoning district, and it meets all the zoning requirements. The applicant is here if you have any questions for them, or staff is also willing to answer any questions you might have for this final plat.
The shaded area is what? Like back towards the river? What does that mean?
Floodplain.
What is it?
Floodplain.
It's non-buildable area. Well, non-buildable without some work, right?
Yes.
Without extra.
Okay.
I just want to thank the applicant for working with our new fire chief and kind of working through those issues and coming to a good conclusion there. It's kind of exciting to see some of that work going on. I mean, it's hard to watch the change, but it's hopefully going to be a good thing. I think people are looking forward to it. So.
I'm excited about these larger lots. I think they're great.
So it should be nice. So.
Steve, hopefully you get some kids up here. Okay, perfect.
The two best ones, right?
So senior planner, was that in reference to gray hair? Is that?
I think I have a little bit.
Welcome.
Thank you.
To Morgan.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the final plat of the Shadow Creek subdivision, 14 lots identified by parcel numbers 00-0093-4182 and 00-0090-2565.
I'll second it.
Have a motion by Commissioner Nickerson and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Are there any opposed? I'm an aye on that. Okay. That was painless. Okay, Jeremy.
All right, action item E12 is the Howard and Kelly rezone. That is application 26.002. The applicants being the very same Howard and Kelly Thurston of 1300 West Island Road, that also being the project location. The date of the application was earlier this year, January 13, with the parcel number and serial number identified in your meeting packet tonight. The current zoning is A20, which is an agriculture zone. The general plan designation also shows agriculture. The acreage is 26.00 acres even. And the request is to rezone property from A20 to RR5, that's the rural residential 5-acre minimum zone, and reflect that change on the future land use map from agriculture to ranch residential 5. Ranch residential 5 is adjacent in a nearby subdivision, that's the Island Circle subdivision number 2. RR5, there's RR1 to the south on basically south of the terminus of Island Road. And staff has reviewed this application, and if the commission finds merit in this rezone, could use the following findings as a reference in their motion. I will read those, Mr. Chair. Number 1, that the proposed amendment is appropriate given the surrounding rural residential character and existing infrastructure. 2, that the requested rezone from A20 to RR5 is unlikely to adversely affect surrounding properties, several of which are 2 acres or less. 3, that the amendment supports county land use objectives and maintains an orderly development pattern. 4, that the proposed rezone and future land use map amendment to rural residential are consistent with existing land uses in the area. If the exhibits get pulled up, you'll be able to see the existing history of the property or zoning map and future land use map with the rural residential and applicable ranch residential designations from code and the general plan respectively are shown on the mapping there. But the applicant is in the audience tonight, Mr. Chair. I should mention the Planning Commission addressed this at their regularly scheduled meeting on March 17th, 2026. The comments made during the public hearing addressed road safety and traffic, as well as regarding whether the road is public or private, and whether it has been abandoned by the county. County staff clarified that the road is currently maintained, and staff clarified. Due to ongoing maintenance by the county, and further explained that the proposed rezone does not constitute spot zoning was a question that came up in the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission expressed the need for a master transportation plan, and there's been some iterations of plans in the recent past to provide clarity on similar issues in the future. The Planning Commission did vote to recommend approval of the application with the 5-0 vote for approval. A positive recommendation, rather. Member McMillan was absent from the meeting, and Chair Maloney refrained from voting in your capacity as chair. Otherwise, again, staff consisting of Josh, Kent, and I are happy to answer your questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Maybe I can clarify as well, because there was a question that came up in my office about public versus private portion of the road. In speaking with our Public Works Director, there is a portion when it gets out of the city where the county has maintained and collects funds on, but it doesn't extend the entire length of the road. It goes to the turnaround where it goes off into two directions. And so I don't know if that helps clarify, but it's not necessarily a rezone question, but it does clarify what was presented at the Planning Commission meeting.
So does
That
that go?
point is the center point, right?
About the center point is what I'm,
Yeah, where it tees and
Center
goes to
point
the,
of
yeah.
which?
yep.
Oh, because I thought they were, it continued out to where Howard's house is, and that's where it splits.
And that's where I think there's
Is
some
that where the
discussion
county-
of that, and when the applicant comes and speaks, I'm sure he'll address it, but what we've talked to is based on the historic that the county is aware of and the records that we have is we've collected funds only to that turnaround. And I think that there is some discussion about in the past, maybe they've gone and pushed the snow if they've had time to do it, but whether or not that was maintaining it consistently for the 10 years or not, that's something that would be on the applicant to show that it is a right of way, and then the county would have to decide, okay, if there's a, you know, if it's shown that it is a right of way, have we taken any steps to abandon it? But we're not going to discuss the abandonment until we see if there's a right of way. But currently, right now, it's not being maintained, and we're not collecting funds past that turnaround point.
I would think for purposes of this application, that's kind of irrelevant.
That's exactly right.
Because their access is a whole different discussion that would come down the road.
Yeah, they would have the ability to comply with whatever code requirements for access at a point when they're coming through the administrative process. So I was just bringing it up because I think to clarify what came up in the Planning Commission meeting, yes, it's public, but not the whole way.
Why are we ending up with these little teeny weeny pieces that are kind of cut out of the,
Are you talking about like right here?
yeah, that, and then there's another one to the right of it. Yeah, those two little pieces. Is that not owned by the same family?
No, it's just the one larger parcel coming forward tonight.
Those are probably part of the other stuff. That could be a map error. Zoning.
Some of
If the
that was
parcel
some-
actually goes there, it probably should cover the entire parcel of the existing RF.
And meets and bounds legal description changes over time. Many of them, I'd say.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? Okay,
I'd like him to come up.
Howard, you want to come up and? You know, you're always good for good talk.
Well, I don't know. I'm Howard Thurston, and first of all, I start off by thanking Jeremy and the planning people. They've been very helpful and very upfront, and this process has been very simple to this point. And I'd like to thank you guys for listening, but the road issue there, Blaine, the county has put in Rotomill and paved it right down to my house, and they have been in there, and they did seal the top of it. So in the past, the county has plowed it. They've hauled gravel down there. They've graded it over the years. Ever since I was a little kid, the county has maintained it. So this is one thing we're going to have to work through a little bit. But yes, the county has maintained it. There is there's at least a private right-of-way down through there. So if you have any questions, I just wanted to kind of do this to break it up, to give my kids some building lots so that, I mean, I'm 70, and when I die, I hope they're 70. And at that point, it's not going to be of much use to them. So I'd like to get them to be able to use it while they're young enough to enjoy it. So that's the reason for doing this. So thank you.
Boy, you preempted Blaine's question right there. Way to
I
go.
was just thinking he was crazy to do it, but you know, hey. I figured I could ask him that later.
There may be problems to having your family that close.
That's right.
Okay, if no other questions, then I'll look for a motion.
Chair, I move we go into public hearing.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
okay. Have a motion by Commissioner Blocker and a second by Commissioner Newton. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're now in public hearing. If anybody would like to come forward and speak.
Mr. Chair, I move that we close the public hearing and reconvene the public meeting.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Howard and Kelly rezone requests, rezoning property from A20 to RR5 as indicated in the staff report.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Blocker. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
So the next one's my error. I think I misunderstood, but I'm sure Josh will explain.
Before I go on with that, this will be the last county commission meeting that Jeremy will be at. He's accepted a position at another community, and so just wanted to publicly thank him for all the help that he's given me over the last 3 years. It was really hard to find him, so I'm pretty sad to see him go. But he's on to bigger, better things, and hopefully we'll be able to find somebody that can fill those shoes.
And Morgan County is my first real job with real benefits and real pay. And so it's been 3 years, like Josh mentioned. It's my first job out of college, and it's incalculable to list out all of the things I've learned, the ways that I've grown, the mistakes that I've made and learned from, and all of the customers in Morgan County that I've so appreciated working for. And so it actually is, I'm a little emotional, but I've enjoyed my time here and I've learned a lot, and I'm so appreciative. So thank you to the commission. Thank you to Josh. Enjoyed working with my coworkers in the office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Jeremy.
Good luck with everything, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So the state statute changed. The state legislature made it a requirement for tier 1, 2, 3, and 4 counties to have 3 contractors on file for building inspections. And so this RFP is to not terminate Shums Coda, even though
I misunderstand.
it's okay. But
technically it has to terminate and start again if they happen to be one of the new ones, right?
No, we're gonna keep them and we have to have one more on.
Oh, okay.
well, if I get 3
Yeah.
more, I mean,
Where is my?
yes.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get a couple more so we can meet state requirements. Dustin meets all the new requirements though for building officials, so we don't have to hire an interim building official to step in until he has those requirements. He meets those. So the fact that he was able to get all 8 certs in a year was amazing in my opinion, and he deserves some accolades for that. But, this is specifically for an RFP so we can meet state statutes.
That RFP is already posted. This was my misunderstanding. I request to remove their request to terminate.
Okay.
So the request is just to put it out for RFP.
It already
That's
is
correct.
posted. But yeah.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the RFP for county planning and zoning, county service agreement for a building inspector service.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. Do we have to include pulling that? Terminating?
Could you please,
And I will amend my motion to include that we are removing the item in the agenda that indicates that we're terminating the agreement with Shumsco. We don't intend to terminate that at this time.
Okay, I have a motion, a new motion by Commissioner Newton and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
thanks. Okay, I think this is a pretty easy one. We've already approved this for Blaine. He just is now requesting hotel accommodations. I guess his wife didn't want to go with him.
That's right.
And so
That's exactly right. The kids did.
needed him
I couldn't take care
a
of it.
solo room.
Okay, I move we approve Blaine's request for hotel accommodations for the 2026 Tourism Business Development Workshop.
Which was free. The workshop was free, right? That's the free one.
I
we
think
signed
it
you up for
is.
last time.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Blocker,
I'll second it, but I can't. Because it's for me.
second by Commissioner Fackrell.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Okay, on
Kate?
your election security edition, this is a essentially how the engineering worked out. All of the condenser units will be needed to move onto the existing building's roof, and the lines rerun. So that's an additional cost above the bid of $34,017.60. 2 of those condensers are over 25 years old. So he's also put in here an option to replace those condensers while he's putting the new ones, or the other ones that are not 25 years old, on top of the roof.
So is this in addition to the remodel that we're
Yes.
doing? I mean, the whole,
This is a change
It's
order.
a change order to that. It's an added expense to that.
I called Corey because this is the stuff that concerns me when we go out to bid and then we start getting change orders. I don't know, I couldn't remember, nor do I know as I care to know if we have any extra, if we had allowed any extra for that. I know they had some contingency, and I asked him about that contingency money that he had in there, but that's only $30,000 is all I think he had, around 30,000, 5%, if I remember right, of contingency monies in there for that. But I expressed my concern to him that we're already a change order and we haven't even begun, you know? And how did we miss that the condensers are sitting where we're gonna build the, you know, we're walking around the building going, there's condensers, they gotta be moved somewhere, you know, whether they're on the roof or not. So that was my concern to him, is that, and so I asked him to go to, I think Mountain Valley Mechanical is who he uses. I asked him to find out if they caught that and if it was included, because he hadn't asked them that. So anyway, he was gonna ask that, but I
Did you
just,
want to table this one?
I think we ought to table it just for one meeting and work through that a little bit on that, because I don't know as we had a whole lot of extra money in there for a bunch of change orders. So I said to him, what else are we might be missing? And that was, well, we're gonna have to abate the flooring in the clerk's office. That wasn't included. We're going to
That's gonna be like another 10 or 20,000.
I think it's 6.
Huh?
I think it was 6.
Is it 6 for the other ones?
We're going to have to, we don't know about the sewer. Brett says he can run it straight out and they can run it under the footing. If that's the case, great. If it runs parallel, then we might have something there. There was a third item. I should write stuff down when I'm
And I think you're
this
right.
age.
Let's hold on it and see what other items potentially too.
I have a question on that. Is with all of these, not just the change orders, but this whole thing, how much of it is the state giving us to help mitigate the clerk's office? We don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I know that Wesley said that there was a pot of money, but as people were getting it done, that pot's getting smaller and smaller. To the longer
And they-
we went,
I'd end up with
the less there
10,000.
is.
You have to turn in the receipt. So it's not like, I think it's like a first come, first serve.
Yeah,
So
it's-
that's
the
why
pot's
we're like,
getting
go
smaller.
ahead and order the bullet resistant glass now so that I can submit that.
Yeah.
And I'm with Matt. It's like, that's kind of a big deal when you come and walk around, you're like, oh, we're gonna build a structure and there's all this equipment sitting there, like, well, it's gotta go somewhere. How did you not?
Yeah.
Did you not see it? You know, but I saw that and I was quite frustrated that, I mean, I get that you got 2 old units and probably good to change them, but that should have been caught at the beginning. So,
Well, and we can talk, I think we're gonna have a closed session anyways, but we can talk about contingency monies in that
so we just
too, so.
table to a certain date certain or postpone or?
Next week.
To the next meeting. Mr. Chair, I move that we postpone item 15, I'm sure I'm on the right one, E15 to our next meeting.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Nickerson and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
So the county commission awarded the county's impact fee plan and analysis along with the fee analysis, or charges for service analysis to LRB. Part of that is they come to us, the county, and say, okay, what are your projects? What are your planned projects? What do they cost? When are they slated for completion? Like, are they 6 years out, 10 years out, 2 years out, 1 year's out? The county has never had a transportation master plan, which is a plan completed by engineers that go through travel demand models, connectivity needs, safety needs, multimodal strategies like active transportation, to create that capital improvement plan from. So it was at their recommendation that I go out and see what that would cost from a certified company. And as you see, we got 2 back. Here's my misunderstanding. $10,500 of our LRB contract was, LRB is going to remove that from their contract if we use a third party to actually do a transportation master plan to build a capital facilities plan off of. In what we bid out and ended up awarding in the LRB contract, I was nowhere expecting the dollar amount for the cost that came back. So I have reached out to LRB and I've reached out to the lowest bidder and just asked a bunch of questions. So I'm not expecting the commission to award this. I would like the opportunity to have a conversation with LRB and the lowest bidder to see, you know, what they actually need. And I say this with all love and respect to our public works director, that future planning and budgeting is not that person's strong suit. I do feel like the county does need a transportation master plan. But for something that's only gonna be good for 10 years, is it worth $85,000? So I explained to the lowest bidder, we already have a trails plan that we got through grant, completed through a grant, so that portion's done. You'll see a lot of the costs in there are like for the public hearings, and that I asked if we could overlap that with LRB. They said some of it yes, some of it no. So I guess my question to the commission is, what is your appetite or your dollar amount of what you would be willing to spend on a transportation master plan for us to know what this community needs? And if not, and we go back to just letting LRB do it for 10-5, understanding that it's gonna be Brett Heiner and myself going, well, I think we're gonna need a bridge here, a road here, a sidewalk here, a trail here. And this is our schedule of 6 to 10 years to get that done.
This might be something Wasatch Front Regional
That's what I
Council
was
could
gonna
help us with.
Okay,
Yeah, under their TLC program.
Yeah.
under their what?
TLC.
Their
Land use
TIP,
planning.
Transportation Improvement Program.
I don't know if that extends to our county, but I'll reach out to Andrew and
Yeah.
ask if he'd like.
Okay. I had a heart attack when I saw those bids.
I mean, because they helped us
Because
with
we're
all
spent,
this other.
that's more than we're spending on the fee study.
Yeah. I mean, they should involve us a little bit more.
From 10 grand to 90.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they'll
Should
pay
we
for
throw
it
some
out of the
condensing
amount.
units in there?
I know they help
I
with
was like,
general
oh.
plans and all that, and because they went through a whole presentation on different counties they've helped, rural counties. I imagine they would do transportation.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Andrew and ask him.
Certainly doesn't hurt to ask.
Okay.
Do that. I have a meeting with him on Thursday.
Oh, if you already have one.
So it's for something, but I'm happy to talk about it. So I guess I'm not, in the interim, can we not deny all bids, but just
Let's just hold
postpone
this.
the conversation until, because like I said, I'm just trying to be transparent and open the bids at the same time. I was not expecting that dollar amount, and then being able to get a hold of LRB, and even they were like, we were not expecting that. And I said, well, we've never had one. So it's not like they're taking a 10-year-old one and building onto it. So we get that to an extent, but I personally am not supportive of it at the price point that it is. Do I think we need it? Yes, but not at that price point.
I agree.
So
Mr. Chair, I move that we postpone item number 16 till our next meeting.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Newton. Be ready by the next meeting?
we'll at least have clarification
At least
and a
know.
direction.
Okay. Second by Commissioner Nickerson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Blocker.
Yeah, I was just wondering, do we need a resolution to join the Northern Utah Economic Alliance?
Meeting minutes.
And will this be a new board position? I'm happy.
Nothing.
I thought we had approved it last time.
We did approve it, but do
We
we need
approved
like
it a couple meetings ago. We didn't do it by resolution because there's no cost.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
figured minutes would be
fine?
fine. Are you saying you, do we need to put it on?
In a portfolio,
Okay.
which I'm happy to be over it. The next meeting is April 23rd, 12 p.m., Ogden County Building. Anybody all are welcome.
I thought you were over that because you're economic development.
I can be over it.
I mean, because
I'm
it's
just
just
wondering
part
if
of
it's
Put
a
it under
new
the same
position.
umbrella.
Yeah,
It's the
I
same
think it just
umbrella.
stays under economic.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Do you need a copy of the
to do
meeting
that.
minutes then? sign meeting minutes for them, or?
I don't.
Okay.
They don't need anything from
No,
us.
they
Okay.
don't. And then I was asked by Judy Williamson, she's the president and CEO of McCady Hospital, to join the Hospital Community Relations Committee. This is a committee of the Board of Trustees. It's an advisory committee to help guide the work of the Community Health Needs Assessment Plan. So basically, we're bringing the needs of our area, Morgan County, to the board of McCady Hospital.
So that's different than our human services or our health services?
It is, yeah. So I just thought I'd make you aware of that. I told her I would be happy to. I know they've talked to me before about maybe finding a spot for an Instacare in Mountain Green area.
We'll need it when the Olympics, when the off-ramp gets here. The interchange.
That's all I've got.
Okay, Commissioner Newton.
Really don't have anything new, just the big boy is coming back through Morgan on the 20th. There will be a little bit of a gathering at the depot again if you'd like to attend that. But otherwise, I don't have anything.
How did it go? I know it was bad weather.
Out of
It
town.
was wet.
There was a lot of people from the pictures I saw though.
So we set up, and while we were setting up, it hailed on us, rained on us, and snowed on us. But yeah, probably over 2,000.
Wow.
And now the one on the 20th, we're gonna have all the elementary school kids are gonna walk down.
Wow.
So yeah. I don't, just on that, and I've talked to Mike about it. I did kind of get on the Historical Society about, just because you get an idea and send an email to bring a train, which is great, and we love it for ECDEV and tourism and TRT tax. However, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and so you can't just throw up your hands and say not it. So this time, unlike last year when it was here over 4th of July, I did make them go through getting an event permit, making sure it's on our insurance, huge deal, insurance, that we had road closure plan with the city, that we had porta potties, that we had sheriff's deputies on site. I was unaware that, what is the way that Sheriff Stark said it, not all train viewers are pedophiles, but all pedophiles are train viewers. So we had to have extra people on staff to just make sure that our youth were safe. I don't know if you've been down there recently, but the railroad in preparation did put up new fencing and gate the other side, so maybe the Pence's sheep will stay off my tracks for once. And but yeah, just a reminder to all of our boards and committees that there's no such thing as a free event. We have to pay off-duty officers. We have to pay for ambulance on site, blah, 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 blah. So in that, I'm gonna ask for forgiveness instead of permission. I had to pay for $600 in porta potties to include 88 porta potties out of the tourism event tax line. So, and there will be another $600 charge on the 20th. So, and thank you to Brett and his team for bringing up trash cans and blocking the roads for us and being out there in the hail. So,
Well, I don't think you're gonna have bad weather this next time.
but I'll have a whole lot of little kids.
Thank goodness there's more
Probably a
fencing.
Mike Newton, because I heard you're kind of a nerd.
Yeah,
Like-
hopefully.
They're like, Mike Newton's gonna be out there, and I was like, I didn't see him the whole time.
I wasn't. I was in Florida last
Okay.
time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I want to admit it after what she just said.
Yeah. What does that say about you? Say anything else, Commissioner Newton?
That's all I had. Yeah, I'm the viewer.
Mr. Fackrell?
Sure. I did attend the meeting with the director of State Parks Director, DWR Director for our East Canyon property, and I call it ours just because it is ours. It's the public's, and they have finalized their boundaries. They were trying to get a boundary set up, or I mean, actually delineated on the map. Let's see, that would have been last week or this week is when they're trying to do it. And then they'll have a complete survey of the whole area within a month, but this part for the parks is coming out. They did say that they would talk to the outdoor recreation to make sure that we can get the grant. But they can't do it until the thing's finalized. But for the NICA course to get the, for us to be able to use our grant that we received so they can begin on the NICA course. That's the first priority for within the state parks, is to do the NICA course within their whole plans. And some of the plans that they have is they have some rock climbing area up there that they're planning on building to a dirt road. There's some primitive camping areas up there that they're going to have. They're going to have a overlook for the sage-grouse lek, yeah, thanks, and their breeding grounds basically. They are going to have Mormon Trail, the California Trail, Pony Express Trail. They're going to have actually that improved so that way people can either, stay off to the side of it, but be able to go on it. They're actually going to have an OHV motorized area up there, not for racing, but for travel, basically for an old day. For you guys too, unless you're going to race. So they're going to have a lot of things up there, and they've got a lot planned. And yes, it's going to be a fee area, but it's a state parks fee area. And they said, it's recommended that everybody just get a season pass for the state parks. And whether it be up there, you get a season's pass for any state park, for anywhere, all state parks. I think it's $150 or $145 for the year. And it allows you to go in and out of the state parks at any time. You don't have to pay the day fee. You can park off to the side of the road, and it's all, it's all part of that fee that you pay instead of paying $20 or $25 every time you go there. So, and then for senior citizens, like I think Matt's almost there.
And it's kind of nice. I've got a little bit of dinner here.
Yeah. So those, for the rest of it, for us that are older, I think it's about almost half off. So we can go for 75 or something like that, $70. So for any of the public that is listening, you ought to get a season's pass. If you're over 65, of course you can't transfer it to younger people, but over 65 you can get a good deal. And the rest of you get to pay the $145.
Veterans are 30.
Oh, is it 130 now?
Oh, just 30 for veterans.
Oh, okay, so you get a better deal than seniors. How nice. So anyway, they've got some different things as far as the NICA course. There was one put out by the Eden Valley. They're not actually happy with that one at this moment, but they're going to put out an RFP, and they wanted to know the process of what we would like to, if we want to, or if they're going to just do it. So they're going to be doing some discussions with you and I and Vaughn on these things. Okay?
Are you talking about the trail from Eden to
No,
down
this-
to Mountain Green?
No, this is the trail, the NICA course.
Oh, okay.
And they've got approximately, I don't know how many miles of trails they've got planned. And they've been working with the outdoor recreation and the history department, preservation and the history. There's a lot going on that we're not aware of, but I'm happy with it. Tiara Oxier was there, and she was happy with it. And so I think it's going along and going good, and we should see a lot of changes. And also within the state parks, the Lost Creek campground, I think, is pretty much finished. If they had one little problem that they're working on, and if they can find more water up there, which is surprising, but they're thinking of another campground further up and over past the bridge. Past the dam, going up towards Francis Ranch. So there's another one up there that they're planning on. It will be a wakeless lake still, and they would like to put in a trail. There is a trail, but it's overgrown trail, and they want to finish it out to where we can all enjoy walking from the dam basically all the way over to Deseret. So those are things that are happening within the state parks, and jurisdiction there, so. Okay. Oh, I had one more thing. A complaint that I think we ought to be aware of, whether or not we want to discuss it or not here, but it's basically a former council person was under the impression that our setbacks were, from when he was there, was like 10 feet. And he says now the planning department is saying it's 30 feet for a building. And he says in the rural area.
It depends on the zoning.
What building?
It's in ag, and it's ag and R1, I think. Might be part of ag, but his house is of course on the river, on the frontage. So anyway, he went to the planning department and they says you have to now have a 30-foot for a building for the fence line, where the other side of the fence is actually a PRUD that is agriculture. And so he would like some clarification, and maybe we need to look at it. So just so that you're aware.
We haven't changed the setbacks, to my knowledge, in as long as I've been around. I don't know if that's changing at all.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's anything new. It's probably a misunderstanding of the zoning. Because the setbacks do change in larger acreage zoning, so like A20, the setbacks are much greater, they're further than in, say, than R1. But R1 is also large zoning, they're further
R10,
back. But
it's bigger than even R10.
yeah, I mean, the smaller the zoning, the less the setback, because presumably the lots are smaller, and so it's
So
more
is it-
acceptable.
did you
to
say
be
he was
close to your
talking
neighbor.
from like the front setback,
No, it's a back setback.
the back setback?
Oh, so you're not talking side setback?
So you're talking backyard?
Backyard.
Oh, I think rear has always been 30 feet.
Oh, so that's,
Because front is 30 feet.
I'll say front should be 30
Side's
feet.
10.
Sides are 10.
Yep.
Okay.
But our county code is online. They can go read it.
He did. So.
I haven't changed it since I've been here.
No, it hasn't been changed.
Okay. All right. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring it up as a communication problem, maybe. Okay, that's it.
Last week we had the final kind of meeting on the 9/10 as far as input and whatnot. They're going to kind of put all that together and kind of show what they're thinking. One of the big talking points was dogs, and I brought up that Morgan County doesn't recognize e-collars as a leash, and so to try to keep it consistent across to whoever's patrolling or where it is. And it seems like the consensus was dogs will be required to be on a physical leash at all times. So that was one of the big things. And this is kind of with the dogs and that. They're going to kind of pilot this thing, and if people are abusing it, they'll just say you can't. All this is kind of a trial and error. That basically, dogs will be restricted. They talked about special events, sizes, those kind of things. There's a big push as far as like really trying to keep group sizes small to kind of preserve the nature of the property and what its intent was by the landowner when they sold it, to be in compliance with the conservation easement. So they're talking numbers and that. One of the things that came up is, I guess, some of these mountain bike teams are already like, hey, we want to get in there, and bicycles are pretty much not going to happen. Because of the conservation easement. Bicycles are way down the list they're actually kind of suggested to not allow them on the trails up in that area.
Any mountain bike or is it just e-bike?
Any bicycles. E-bikes are completely prohibited because they're
So
considered
even along
road
the road, can they have on the road?
On the road, it's a right of way. They can't stop bicycles on the road. So I use that as an opportunity to really push the NICA course at East Canyon. Say, hey, push those people over there, have them come to East Canyon, enjoy Morgan County. We'll have a NICA course. Everybody over there was really excited about that news. Businesses came up. We were talking about businesses using it for bringing bicyclists up there or snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, those kind of things. I use that as an opportunity to talk about the Hennifer put-in and the problems that arise in Morgan County from Summit County getting all the money and we get all the drunks and the garbage. And so I brought that up as far as, if you've got people snowshoeing and that. we need to have a good conversation with our sheriff and the locals, how we want to run that, because we have a major problem with the river and we don't want to have it with 910. And they were very open with getting the sheriff involved as far as what are issues, how do we approach this to make that work. Another thing was the fire mitigation, because, and I did get a picture, Kate, and I apologize, I didn't send that to you. As far as the 3 different zones of basically the high use area, the limited use area, and then kind of the off limits area that they want to keep for the wildlife to be able to get away and do their thing, where kind of they call it the exclusion zone.
Is that in the slide deck they sent?
It is in the slide deck, and I grabbed a picture of it too, because I didn't, that was before she sent it, and I should have got that to you. The majority of the exclusion zone is on the Morgan County side, and so that brought up the issue as far as fire mitigation, because how do we get that fire, all that fuel out of there if people aren't allowed to go in there? What do we do? They did say that the state forestry and fire, they actually hold the land, and so they will be in charge of that. I met with Brad yesterday morning, and he's going to get in touch with them to kind of get our fire in touch with them to make sure that they're part of the conversation as far as helping to mitigate any of the fire that might, how do we get those fuels out of there so that we can mitigate any sort of large fires. I mentioned the mitigation that was done with Forest Service last year between Line Creek and Deep Creek, and how can we kind of take that model. So Brad was going to take that and reach out to Summit County and the state lands and forestry, and what can we do to kind of get people in there to get that cleaned up. There will be another meetings coming up in April, kind of here's where we're at, what we're doing. One thing that they did want to, that they did say is that this, as they're rolling this out and moving forward, it's a living document. If there are problems, please bring them up. We can adjust. It's not a set in stone, this is what it is forever type thing. But they are constricted by the conservation easement. They must fall within those.
What are they gonna do when they have too much wildlife on it? Can't take
That is going to be a challenge because there is no hunting. And so that, I know that DWR, DNR has been in all these meetings, been discussing that with them and how do they do it. I did get to meet with, and I have the contact for the gentleman who is running his cattle up on there. They're planning on continue to graze and to farm the property and do that to keep it in green belt. And so he says if there's any issues or questions or problems, please reach out to him immediately, but he will be actively grazing the properties.
So are you gonna be able to go up there with horses?
Yes, equestrian is high on the list, so like bicycles are down here, and equestrian and people walking in that is very high on the list. So there will be limited parking on there. They're trying to break it up, but there will be areas we brought up as far as trails as well.
They're not worried about horse manure, but they're worried about dog manure.
Horse manures are good
I'm
fertilization.
more of horse than that, yeah.
Me too.
You can always tell the farm
Maybe they have to
people
jump
versus
down
the
and
non.
pick it up and put it in a bag.
But again, the horses, you have to bring your pack mule to carry it out. But it's going to be kind of like, I likened it to kind of Antelope Island, where even the horses are restricted to the trails. They have to stay on the trails. They are talking about directional trails, so that if there are bicycles, whatnot, that everybody's traveling in the same direction. You don't have people coming head to head. So, yeah, you don't have to pick up off your horse.
I don't have one. So it'll be easy to pick up.
And somebody did bring up, the pack llamas or whatever they are, and that is something we hadn't thought of. So people walking around with their llamas or alpacas. So I'm like, well, they've got pack goats too. So that's the latest from 910. But I did take that opportunity to kind of, hey, we've got a problem with the put in the river, and
Yeah.
we need to have these conversations. I told him to please don't call Corey and have him ride his horse 24/7 to patrol the Morgan County side, because we will never see our sheriff again.
Nope.
So, and I told Corey he can't go do that. So once in a while is okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for going to those.
Oh, sorry, one more thing. I met with, at the 9:10 meeting with the Mercer's assistant, JC, and kind of, and this was, I think, before your meeting with him, I was like, we've got to get this moving because our grant is gonna, we've already extended it once.
And they're gonna extend it again.
They will do it.
They will.
Okay. I just,
According to the state parks director, he was gonna talk to the state.
I pushed it,
State
please.
recreation director and Tara, the deputy, and just get it changed.
I just,
And
I
whoever
pushed it,
else
says,
it
we need
is.
to move on this quick, we need to get it moving because of that grant and whatnot. And then, oh, one other thing was with the gentleman that spoke about the baseball fields and that. So I've had several phone calls and emails about that. And I think we just need to, as we discuss these things, keep in mind all of our recreation.
Absolutely.
I know, when my son played baseball, I've had my cousin's daughter played softball, and there's extremely limited baseball, softball. We've got more soccer, football than we have the baseball. And so I hope we can look into those things and really best use of as little property as we have.
Well, I hope it was more of a conspiracy theory or a rumor that they're gonna tear out the backstop.
She
Oh,
discussed.
no, we're totally tearing it.
She discussed
We
about-
haven't used it in years.
About,
The backstop of a Ken Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't used that in
That's
years.
because it's not even
Because you-
usable. It doesn't even have
Yeah,
a
because you can't
diamond.
use it for the diamend.
right, you can't use it. So that's where
I'm
it's
not
like,
saying scrap it, but yeah, it's
but
in
look
its
at it,
current
see
spot.
what we can do to try to help
And I
baseball,
mess-
softball, soccer. I mean, all.
Yeah,
what
and
can
he
you
was
do?
texting me because he's the one that wanted to make public comment, and so I have a meeting with him on Thursday to kind of go over. I said I have concerns, like mainly the trigger word bleachers. I have concerns, but just kind of get some insight on what he's thinking on that northwest corner.
Didn't there used to be bleachers there? I remember bleachers there, that backstop.
Yeah,
There
just
was,
some
right?
temporary ones,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
We do have a sort of a baseball diamond at the Milton Park.
We do.
So
Sort of.
Do ya?
in the meantime, they ought to at least use that.
They can go, and I know the younger kids use it. You see them over there quite a bit, but then they're competing with the football kids who are in there and using it up. And I just, as we're moving forward, as we're gaining property, let's, what are some uses that we can really, encourage all of our
And I'll
athletes to.
push back a little that we don't have a bunch of soccer and football. We
No.
have a bunch of flat, open space for
Multi-use.
multi-use. Yeah, but,
which is more
but
conducive to-
And maybe
understanding.
we need to consider some scheduling. If
Yeah.
the issue is that football and baseball are running into each other and it's a multi-use field, maybe we need to consider, hey,
Like
these
my
days
kids
or
played
these times
rugby.
are gonna be.
And that's just,
And
as
we
we
had
move
to
forward, I think those
share with the
conversations,
football
we just
fields, yeah.
work with our rec department and just,
Yeah.
we want all the kids to, and that's a tough one, because, you think about baseball and it's a very specific field, with the dirt and whatnot. And,
That's the
but
concern.
I remember watching the San Francisco 49ers play in Kansas State Park on a baseball field, so. we
Doesn't
don't-
the LDS church have baseball
I'm sorry?
diamonds right there at the Bowery
Oh, the church,
that are never used?
so.
Isn't there a
those things we can reach
baseball?
out to the
Well, I
church.
guess he said there's some in Morgan. I was like, we've got the one here, and then we've got the one on the other side of Morgan.
Nothing except
But,
the church one down
yeah.
there.
Just as
I'm not anti-baseball. I'm just
No, I
my
just think
trigger
it's-
word was bleachers. I'm like,
Well,
oh.
I mean, they
I
may
know how
have
much
to
it costs
recognize
to
that the
keep
baseball
bleachers
field is
up.
going to be a grass field and not have dirt sections. That just may be the case if we're gonna have a multi-use
Yeah.
field.
And I don't think we have to put in bleachers to have a.
No.
You
I
can
mean,
bring your own
lots of
chair
people
and hang
bring
out
their
along the
chairs and
Bring
sit
chairs and
down.
sit there and watch.
I don't know about
coached
you
it.
guys. A lawn chair is infinitely more comfortable than outdoor metal
Yeah.
bleachers.
On church.
And lawn, yeah,
You
lawn
prov-
chairs are
'cause you
cheap.
provide it.
You ruin 2 a year. You go back to Walmart and you buy another one for $10.
And I had a baseball team that we traveled from Idaho to St. George, and we found places to practice and here in Morgan, and
But I love that he's fighting for it,
But-
and we will try to find a way to accommodate.
that we.
Yeah, and I think that's just it, is just try to find places that we can try to accommodate people.
I agree. No,
Instead
I
of
think
waiting for
every-
the plan
I
to
think
be
every
done and
sport
then
should be
saying,
represented.
Why didn't we do
Oh,
this?
yeah. So,
And I think he specifically mentioned he would like to see one in Mountain Green.
right.
Yes,
Yeah, that end of the valley.
yeah, because we've got a few here, like you say, but,
Well,
as-
in the interim, tell him to go to Milton. until we can figure something out.
Or the church down there.
The church, yeah, the Bowery.
Reach out to the church.
That would be great.
We do need a closed session for land.
Okay. I just have a couple things. First of all, I think, I don't know, maybe all of us have met with Brad on the fire sprinkler ordinance. If you haven't, I'd recommend you reach out to him, take a half hour, have him go over it with you. It's awesome, I think, what he's proposing. He's working hard on this stuff. I think he's a great guy. I think he's doing lots of good things, common sense stuff. So, and then I had the special needs reach out to me. They want us, and I'm happy to do it, reach out to UTA, and they feel like the special needs kids could use some rides if they would come up here. I know they go out to some rural areas, and so if everybody's okay with that, I'll reach out to them, see if there's a cost, or if there's not a cost, or
So we have
so they have.
UTA is a slippery slope.
Is it?
We've
Two-year
explored
contract
some of
with
that
them
in the
expires
past.
the end of the year.
And they would love to have service up here, but they want to charge us for it.
Really?
And it's not cheap. So in the past, when we've discussed, and this has been years ago, UTA came to us and wanted us to do a bus route up here, and there was a couple of reasons that we didn't like the idea. Number one, it was really expensive, and number two, if you do now, the type of service you're talking about is totally different from this. But if you do like public bus service, you're bringing folks into the community that maybe you don't necessarily want to. And I'm not trying to. It's just that happens with public bus service. But it was to the tune of several $100,000 a year they wanted from us to do bus service up here. So I don't know what that would look like. I would just say, be cautious with UTA, because you stick your finger or your toe in. Yeah.
For special needs? An outcry of what?
Well,
Because ultimately, the cost is so high that you would have to have the voters approve a new tax levy to approve it.
Well, I don't
Now,
think that
for
would-
special needs, I don't know what that looks like, and maybe there's a service that we could do for that. Because I mean, I would totally support that. I think that's a great idea.
So I have to reach out to
But-
them anyway for our contract renewal. Our contracts are 2 years for the ski service, and so it should be coming up before the end of the
All right.
season. So
Okay.
I will see if I can get some idea on cost.
I was
Yeah, I'm
gonna
not
say,
asking for the whole community, but the special needs.
yeah, I was just gonna say for the whole transit, as we look forward to the Olympics in 2034, we need to be looking at different types of transportation, transit of some sort, whether it be air traffic or whatever it is. We need to be looking at some of those areas and how it can benefit certain areas, especially with the Olympics. So that's something in the vision I think we need to be looking at, whether or not we want it or not. We may have to do a temporary type of a thing for now. Not now, but in the future. And that's where Summit County went with their own system and not a UTA. And they went with High Valley Transit. They made their own system. So that's something to consider.
And Davey Ratchford, the general manager of Snow Basin, reached out to me and said he'd like to come give us an update on the Olympics and where Snow Basin is with the state and all that. Said he'd reach out to Kate.
That'd be awesome. And I really like these days without work sessions. I hate to say that.
Don't look at me, they keep canceling them. And I'm,
Okay, I'll look for a motion then to,
Mr. Chair, I move that we go into closed session for the discussion of character, professional comps, or physical, mental health of an individual, and for the acquisition and disposition of real property.
Second.
you have a motion by Commissioner Nickerson and a second by Commissioner Fackrell. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.